Lesson 57, Numbers. Well, in this lesson, we're going to try to teach you the first 6 numbers, 7 if you include the number 0. And take my word for it, folks, these words sound nothing like the way they look. So you need to really try to copy what you hear from Francois' pronunciation. Francois, can you just go through these numbers and pronounce them for us so we can hear what they sound like?
0, 1 ou une, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So again, make sure you copy the sounds you hear and don't rely on the way these words look in written form to try to figure out how they sound. And there's one other thing I wanted to point out to all of you, and that is the fact that the number 1 in French is the same as the indefinite article. The indefinite article, if you'll remember, is when you say a something or an something, like a nut or an apple. Or in the plural, it's some nuts or some apples. Well, in French, the singular indefinite article is the same as the number 1. So literally, if you say it in French, you're saying one of these or one of those. And for those of you who have had Spanish, you'll notice that it's the same in Spanish. You're literally just saying one of this or one of that. And to illustrate this, I'd like to do a quick experiment. Francois, can you say, I have a dog, and then say, I have one dog? And let's hear if there's any difference to the sentence.
J'ai un chien.
So it's exactly the same.
If you want to insist, you will say, I have only one dog.
Yeah, j'ai un seul chien.
J'ai un seul chien.
Yeah.
So because the indefinite article is the same as the number 1, really we have 2 genders for the number 1.
I think this is very common with most languages. Even in Spanish, it's un and una.
Uh-huh.
In Portuguese, it would be uma.
So it's not just French. We see this in several Romance languages. So, Francois, if you were going to say, I have one daughter, in that case, you'd have to use the feminine form of the number 1, right?
J'ai une fille.
There's something we should point out with the numbers 2 and 3. Number 2 ends in an X, but if the following word begins with a vowel, there will be liaison. So if you say, I have 2 friends, it would be j'ai 2 amis. Same thing with the number 3, 3 amis.
That means the X at the end of the deux, and it is the rule for any X that goes for a plural. When you make a liaison, it is the same as a S.
So the X that comes at the end of the number 2, deux, and the S that comes at the end of the number 3, they're both ordinarily silent, but if the next word starts with a vowel, you have a liaison, and they become active. Let's have an example of this. Francois, what if you were going to say, I have 3 friends? The word for friends starts with a vowel, right?
J'ai 3 amis.
So there's the liaison.
Yeah, and the following, 4, 5, and 6, they all have consonants that are pronounced, but there will be enchaînement with the following noun, correct? Say 4 friends.
J'ai 4 amis.
Okay, 5 friends.
J'ai 5 amis.
6 friends.
J'ai 6 amis.
In the letter X, it was pronounced as a S sound, but with enchaînement, it becomes a Z sound.
So with enchaînement, the consonant is already pronounced, but in combination with the next word, not only is it going to be pronounced as though that sound is the beginning of the next word, the sound itself can change from a hissing S sound to a Z sound. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a good point for our listeners to remember.